Education is said to be the bedrock of the development of any society, and once the sector is neglected, it affects the society negatively. Over the years, state government has tried to bridge the gap and enhance learning through the establishment of government public schools to cater for its citizens by providing efficient and effective learning facilities. However, in recent times, state government appears to have neglected public schools, which have forced most parents to enroll their children in private schools. This is so because the government-owned schools have been facing challenges such as lack of basic infrastructure, inadequate funding, corruption, and absence of institutional and planning strategies, amongst others. In Benue State, government has taken drastic steps in addressing these challenges by bringing in policies and programs in the educational sector. This will form the basis of our discussion on Panorama, coming to you live from NTA Network Center, Makurdi. And our guest is the Benue State Commissioner for Education and Knowledge Management, Dr. Frederick Ikian. I am Fatima Hassan, but first, let's take the news for today. Vice President Kashim Shettima has emphasized the importance of service to humanity and peaceful coexistence in Nigeria, urging political leaders to project the beauty of the nation's cultural diversity. He made the appeal at the conferment of the chieftaincy title of Asiwaju of Ijebuland on industrialist and philanthropist Suleiman Adebola Adegunwa, held in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports. Abdurrahman.
This colorful gathering in the ancient city of Ijebu-Ode is in honor of one of their own, Dr. Suleiman Adegunwa, the new Asiwaju of Ijebu. People in their different attires welcomed the vice president who came to celebrate with them, describing the new Asiwaju as a leader committed to entrenching peaceful coexistence across the nation.
It's a show of compassion, it's a show of humility, and the entire landscape was broken by schools, security posts, and so many corporate responsibility items that blocked the whole of Ijebuland and the nation as a whole. We celebrate with him, we commend him, and we have a moral duty to call on all Nigerians to emulate the lives of Chief Adegunwa.
Baba is a confident, yet very humble man, both in appearance, vision, and innovation.
I pledge my support.
The Aujale and paramount ruler of Ijebuland, Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetona II, who conferred the chieftaincy title, commended Dr. Adegunwa and his wife for distinguishing themselves in character, respective fields of endeavor and contributions to the community. Oba Adetona II, who has been on the throne for 64 years, said the palace had observed the Adegunwas with the joy and pride, as they have exhibited honesty, integrity, and uncommon development in Ijebuland. From Ijebu-Ode in Ogun State, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Healthcare matters. Nigeria is strengthening its cancer care and control through collaboration with Siemens Healthineers. Minister of State for Health, Dr. Tunji Alausa, at a workshop with the partners in Abuja, said the partnership is aimed at enhancing the capabilities of cancer diagnosis, treatment and management in the country while addressing critical gaps in healthcare infrastructure and expertise. Uche Ogochukwu reports.
partnership signifies a commitment to leveraging cutting-edge technology and expertise to tackle the green burden of cancer in Nigeria. Siemens Healthineers brings to the table a wealth of experience in diagnostic imaging, laboratory diagnostics, and advanced therapy solutions, complementing NICRAT's dedication to cancer research and treatments. The partnership will also facilitate capacity building initiatives geared towards empowering healthcare professionals with specialized training and skills development opportunities. For this, the support of the International Atomic Energy Agency has also been sought.
As global leaders in cancer care, we're not only excited by the opportunity to bring the latest technology to the country, but more importantly, to build on the long history of providing access to cancer care in Nigeria and make sure that that access is sustainable.
We can leverage the expertise, resources, and technology of our partners to facilitate access to high-quality care, promote early detection, and enhance the continuum of care for individuals impacted by cancer.
The implementation of the National Cancer Control Strategic Plan 2023-2027 is expected to materialize through these partnerships.
The government is very committed about building capacities of health workers. We are all aware of the challenges that we have.
To intense awareness creation and improve access to treatment and research. We are firmly determined to keep this momentum up till we change the narrative in the cancer space in Nigeria.
The team will explore other areas of impactful collaborations among all stakeholders. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Government has advocated increased budgetary allocation to the Nigerian Army for optimum performance. Deputy Governor Sam Ode suggested this when he received a delegation of the House Committee on Army at the Old Banquet Hall of the Government House, Makurdi. Simbiat Agbaji completes the report.
The delegation led by the Vice Chairman House Committee on Army and member representing Oju, Obi Federal Constituency, David Ogewu, are in Makurdi on an oversight function of all Army formations to inspect ongoing projects in the various Army barracks across the state.
And I'm very much happy for the warm reception granted us today. As soon we are done here by doing what is right, by intimating the Chief Security Officer of the state, we will proceed into the site and to carry out our function.
Deputy Governor Sam Ode, who received the delegation, proposed that adequate equipment be given to the Army to enable them carry out their duties effectively. He assured that the Benue State government will provide the necessary support to all Army formations across the state so they can be motivated.
I humbly request that your committee considers advocating for an additional budgetary provision to enhance the operational capabilities of the Nigerian Army. This will no doubt strengthen their ability to address security challenges and also ensure the safety and well-being of our citizens wherever they find themselves within the territory of our country.
The delegation is expected to visit all Army formations in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. They were later hosted to a banquet as a way of showcasing the rich cultural heritage of the Benue people and also to unwind after the day's activities. In Makurdi, Simbiat Agbaji, NTA News.
Panorama will be right back after this short break. Stay tuned. Panorama reaching you live from the Nigerian Television Authority Makurdi Network Center. Benue State government has demonstrated its commitment to revamp the basic education system within the state by adopting mechanisms aimed at bridging the gaps to ensure equality education, especially in public schools. The measures are also to boost the morale of teachers for optimum performance. Iverin Solomon reports.
The Benue State Governor, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, had earlier declared his administration's concern on repositioning the educational sector, especially the public schools, to measure up to global standard. Among the steps taken to make this a reality is the commencement and early payment of salaries of teachers, verification exercise of teachers, establishment of Benue State Education Quality Assurance Agency to ensure engagement of qualified teachers, discouragement of laxity and indiscipline in the schools. This is evident in some of the schools visited in Makurdi, where management of the schools expressed joy over the steps taken by the state government to revamp the educational sector.
The introduction of Benue Quality Assurance is checking truancy on the part of teachers.
Like icing on the cake, the state government offered to register students in public schools WAEC and NECO examinations, a gesture some of the students expressed gratitude.
I want to appreciate the governor of Benue State for helping our parents to register our WAEC and NECO this year.
In the midst of this joy, St. Catherine Primary School is grappling with issues of theft and vandalism of its property.
We have a library shelf, an iron library shelf, equipped with all these novels, English textbooks, and the rest of them. But you can see the shelf is not there. What happened? Hoodlums entered and removed everything.
If the situation is addressed, the better for the school. In Makurdi, Iverin Solomon, NTA News.
With me in the studio to talk more on developing education in Benue State is the Honorable Commissioner for Education and Knowledge Management, Dr. Frederick Ikian. You're welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. It's a pleasure to be with you again. Welcome, viewers.
Okay. So we are looking at developing education in Benue State. It has been noticed that the educational sector in Benue State is faced with a lot of challenges. And top among this is the infrastructure deficit. What do you have to say about this? What is the government doing towards correcting this?
Okay, thank you very much. The issue of infrastructure is certainly not peculiar to Benue. But even before we talk about infrastructural development or its degeneration or its deteriorating state, I need to state that as soon as we came on board, under the leadership of the Governor of Benue State, His Excellency Reverend Father Dr. Hyacinth Alia, we took up the challenge of assessing the situation of our schools. So we had to take a tour around the schools. We are not able to visit each or every school, but a few that we visited gave us a picture of what the situation is anywhere, both here in town, in the urban areas, the suburban urban areas, and in the rural areas. We have buildings that have been in place as far back as 1944. Some buildings in the 50s, others in the 60s, 70s, and on and on. And of course, the buildings of the 1940s have overstayed their usefulness or even their aesthetic presentation. That is therefore need to give a touch to them. But more importantly, because we are living in the 21st century, it requires that the buildings of the time, the learning centers of the modern child, needs to do a reflection or be a reflection of the times in which we live. Exactly. So that was the first thing we did. And now the budget of 2024 has a significant dedication to infrastructural development. And I have taken time to visit a few schools myself, and we have already submitted a document to the governor. Approval is in the process where new schools will be built, where we have some with some little strength we can do some kind of renovation that will upgrade the structures to modern state. Okay. So in part, that is what we have done.
Okay, aside having this the structure of the schools to meet up with the recent times. It's very clear that the environment, the school environment, also affects the mental state of the student.
Sure.
It also encourages learning.
Sure.
You also made mention that you were not able, the team was not able to go round most of the schools. We have 23 local governments in Benue State. So I want to find out if you were able to send some, maybe like a monitoring team to some of these local governments, because I think the situation in some of these local governments, they are more serious compared to the ones here in the urban area. I don't know if your team did that.
Oh yes, thank you very much once again. Like I said, it was me in my person that was unable to visit the local governments. But we have received every report with pictures or photos, some of which I have forwarded to Abuja to report the state of the infrastructural deficit of our schools in Benue. So our headquarters, Federal Ministry of Education, is also in the know of the state of our schools. We have all of that on my table. And since it's not possible to attend to all the schools all at once, we have devised a plan to attend to them bit by bit. It's not possible to spend the whole budget on renovation or rebuilding or upgrading of infrastructure. There are other needs as well in the education sector.
Developing the education sector.
So the summary is that I have all the report of every school on my table. With a click of hand, I can give out to whoever is ready to intervene in the situation.
That means you are clear of all the issues that need to be tackled.
Very well.
Okay. So aside the issue of infrastructure, we also have the issue of politicization of school management and teachers who are not qualified to be in schools to teach these children, because teachers are supposed to be role models to impact knowledge on these children. So what's your take on this? What are you people doing to correct this?
Okay, in this too, I say thank you. You know that from 1960 till now, we appear to be growing backwards in some aspects. When I went to school in the 70s and early 80s, even though in the rural areas we sat in huts, we still received quality teaching because the teachers were worth their salt. Today, because of corruption, because of nepotism, because of all manners of corruption, there are people who are not qualified. But because they have their relations or friends or whosoever in high places, they are given appointments. In the wisdom of the governor, and because of his passion for a standardization of the education sector, he introduced the Benue Education Quality Assurance Agency that is charged with recertifying teachers. Recertification will require interacting with the teachers, subjecting them to tests, and seeing those of them who can pass those tests, who can stand the test, and be able to do a presentation in class at the witness of supervising agents, so as we certify them again who can stand in class. It's not enough to carry a certificate. It is only enough to carry a skill that is able to communicate knowledge in the modern language using available equipment or those tools that are modern and that can help convey knowledge to the students.
That is to say, those teachers need to be in tune with time,
exactly,
with what is happening in the global world.
Exactly, and because of that, we're apart from recertifying them, there is a need to retrain, to increase their capacity, build capacity, so as to reposition them for teaching in the 21st century.
Okay. So you made mention of the quality assurance program, which goes round to monitor the teachers to be very sure that what we have there are people who are qualified to impact knowledge on the children, to the children. Yeah. Okay. So how do you monitor this?
Well,
looking at the number, because I made mention of the 23 local government areas that we have in the state.
Yeah.
How does this particular scheme work?
Well, first of all, monitoring is a routine. It's not a one-time experience. But before the issue of monitoring, it is the responsibility of government to provide favorable working conditions or environment for the teachers.
Okay.
When we came in, we had to do a tour. We had to explore the sector and find out where we were and what stands in need of intervention. And we discovered that they were not properly motivated. Some of them were not paid salaries for a long time. There were no incentives. There were no promotions. The work environment was very poor, and all manner of hazards, around them.
And it affected the quality. It does affect
the output.
Output.
Yes,
okay.
In their workplace.
Okay.
So that is the first aspect of the monitoring. It's not just about the teacher himself or herself, but it's also about the environment in which he or she is operating. And that is part of what we are doing presently to improve the working conditions
and to create a conducive environment. Okay. So quickly before we go, there are insinuations in some quarters that the registration of WAEC students by the government, which the governor Hyacinth earlier announced at a time, did not cut across some schools. Can you clear the air on that?
Okay, thank you very much. Right from the inception, it was not planned to cover every school. Remember that the funds for this registration of WAEC or NECO or NAPTEP were the money that came through the intervention from the federal government, the palliative that was sent. So part of it, the governor applied it to some other sectors. And it was in the wisdom of the state governor to provide this registration only for government secondary schools.
Okay,
so from inception, it was only government secondary schools, even though quite a number of people have appealed and expressed the desire
should be extended
to them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Because of limited funds, it's
thank you
possible.
very much, Honorable Commissioner, for joining us on Panorama today. Okay,
thank you.
So moving on with the news on Panorama. Residents of LMA local government area have attributed the constant accidents along the east-west road to the reckless attitude of drivers of heavy-duty trucks who ply the area. Their reaction follows the tanker explosion of Friday night, which claimed several lives and consumed more than 100 vehicles. Marian Vincent Oko now brings us the situation report.
This is Black Friday.
The unfortunate fire incident started at about 8 o'clock Friday night along the busy Indorama Petrochemical Junction on the LMA axis of the east-west road. Some eyewitnesses who spoke with NTA News said the gridlock, which usually builds up along the area, which serves as a bypass for vehicles, owing to the ongoing construction at the east-west road, started at about 6 p.m. They said the truck driver, in the process of attempting to overtake the PMS tanker, had a minor brush, which created an opening that resulted in the leakage of petrol from the tanker. This was escalated by the action of those who immediately rushed to fetch the product from the leaking point.
Some of the people were pursuing them to go back, but the people around still insist, still going to fetch the fuel, and the two engines were on. So as that process, the fuel was pouring down, the fuel was rushing down to the bridge where the water is. So at that process now, fire now goes out, escalates and started burning.
As at midnight, several vehicles caught up in the incident were still smoking and some still burning, with the remains of some of the victims still trapped in the vehicles, though already burnt beyond recognition. Some of the injured were said to have been taken to the hospital for medical attention. In Eleme, Marian Vincent Oko, NTA News.
Now join our sports desk for the latest in the world of sports with Ocha Umbedi as our guide.